Next up, we've got Eduardo Matias Torres, 16-1 prospect out of Chile, taking on Victor Hugo Silva, maybe the most experienced guy on the Contender Series this year. Certainly got to be one of them, with 27 professional bouts. Hardly would be able to tell, not as easy to find some of his footage. You got to really start digging in to get into a lot of his fights. Victor Striker, if you guys have done the digging yourself, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of his fights kind of got weird labeling on YouTube. But in any case, Eduardo Torres, what can I say about this guy other than I wasn't that impressed? For a 16-1 prospect, I wanted to be more impressed. I think he's a tough guy. I think he's game. I think he can fight for 15 minutes. He's got pretty good straight shots. He can throw a spinning back kick. He's got some diversity to his striking. I think he can be taken down. I think he can be grinded out. I think he gets backed onto the fence way too easy. Doesn't control center. The Noah Hernandez fight, that was pretty lackluster. Honestly, just not that great of an effort. Kind of getting backed up a little bit too much there. He's had a couple other fights where he got backed up a lot. Was almost lucky to win him. I think that was against a 4-5 guy I watched. It was a unanimous decision, but for me, it was a very close fight. So it doesn't seem like he's ready to me. Maybe he's made some big jumps here. Does look like a physical guy, a pretty big guy for 135 pounds. But I think Victor Striker Silva is a dangerous guy. I think he's got good composure. I had to rewatch his fight. I forget the gentleman's name, but one of the fights that he had where he knocks the guy out in the second round, I had to rewatch it because at first I thought he was the big guy. I was like, he's got to be. Surely he's the big guy if he's going to be on Contender Series. He was this little guy, and he was out there just dicing the guy up and absolutely knocked him out with an overhand right. It was brutal stuff. So he's got power in his hands. He's fast, and he was getting takedowns as well. The referee stood him up. I couldn't really understand it. Seems like he's got a decent enough process. He'll come forward, get in your face, take you down, or hit you with big shots on the feet. So Victor Striker Silva, most experienced guy on the show. Give me Victor Silva. I think he's going to win this fight. I don't know what the lines are. I haven't looked at him. So, yeah, I think he wins the fight. What do you think, Gordo?
What would you line it at? It's always a fun game, right?
I mean, the guy's only lost once. Maybe minus 185, minus 200.
Then you might have a bet on your hand, my friend.
What is it?
Let me pull up what it is now. It was evens earlier.
Oh, minus 130, minus 125. Okay. Yeah, I think he should be favored. I think he should probably be favored. So that's my opinion. Well, I'm curious what you think, brother.
I love asking that. Sorry for putting you on the spot. It's always interesting to see your process of looking before the lines do. I know that as soon as I'm done my tape, I'm looking. Where can I get this edge? I like seeing your mind spin there. So yeah, it's nice. And I was kind of responding to some hockey comments there. I got to show some love to Sid the Kid. Hockey season starts up soon. Got to get those drafts going next Tuesday. All right, next Tuesday it starts. All right. Anyways, this one here is a fun one. It is the closest line fight, and I think it is going to bring some decent entertainment. Right? You love to see these good records for these guys competing in a Contender Series. I know he's 30 years old, which is kind of on the older scale of things, but 27 pro fights so far in the Contender Series, that is good things. Now, level of competition is not going to be the highest, but you're getting the work in. You're showing me a lot of stuff I want to see, right? If I'm going to go out there and I have to choose between watching a bunch of tape and knowing what we're going to get from the guy versus question marks we did on Piazon last week, I'm going to take what I know. I like having method to my madness, right? Going out there, seeing what I can trust. What we can see from the guy is deception from his nickname, but also a guy who's going to go out there and stick to a similar game plan. Nickname is going to be Striker. Yeah, no, it's not. He's a guy who likes to wrestle. He does shoot from pretty far out, and I do like that style, right? My style that I like capping for my fights is I'm a DraftKings player first. So when I'm watching UFC, I love my high activity wrestlers. I love my volume guys. These are fun stuff. And I do think in this matchup here, he is going to have the wrestling advantage. And I think he's going to have the volume advantage in this spot here. And I do think that style has led him to some fun fights, and he could win optics that way. The reason this line is so close, in my opinion, is because although Torres is more low volume and he's not going to be the aggressor on the mat, he is more technical. He is more plotting. And I do think he has the ability to go out there and land some damaging shots. And sometimes it's going to be the moment versus minute winner. And sometimes these moment winners win. Sometimes these guys from Chile who have the power, who have the technical ability to go out there and start stuffing the shots later on are able to have success. That doesn't really change my breakdown on this one, though. In my eyes, I do think Silva has the ability to go out there, land takedowns, have success in that regard, win minutes, have more activity on the feet to counteract the sniper-like technicality of Torres. And I do think he's able to win this fight. My way to manage or mitigate my risk here, though, it'd be if Torres can stuff these takedowns early on, live bet him. Because I do think he has the better technicality, and I do think as Silva gets sloppy, Torres might be able to take down the stretch. And that's kind of my mentality towards it. However, with that being said, a ton of experience on the Silva side, a ton of activity, ton of volume, and I like to see that. He looks like he's hungry in there, and although he is going to be at a technicality disadvantage, in my opinion, I think his volume is able to overact that. Should be a fun fight.
I love your breakdown, my man. Our guy Just Win Baby in the comments says, split decision BS, take the dog in Torres. Our guy Dixon says, the one time this Chilean dude stepped up in competition, he was beaten by Nolan Hernandez, sub twice and cut from the UFC. Give me Silva by sub. So we've got a lot of interesting comments here in the chat firing off. Appreciate everybody for your feedback. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video. Make sure you get subscribed to the channel because we're talking about fights here each and every week. And Pierce, brother, let us have it. What do you think about this matchup, the co-main event of the evening? Break it down for us.
Yeah, he's actually, I did bet Hugo Silva by submission. That's my only bet on this card. I mean, on this fight, but he actually hasn't been subbed. There was a decision lost to Noelle. But I'm only really playing that just because I thought the number was wide. I don't know what is at now, but I got it at like 5-1. And I mean, y'all mention it. You see a grappling path, and I agree. We see in a lot of Hugo Silva's fights, he goes for takedowns. But at the end of the day, the sub prop was the only thing I'm going to play on that fight on his side. Because I just don't know what type of fighter Hugo Silva is. I mean, at the end of the day, we have 20 seconds of film on the past 4 years. I couldn't find whether, Liam, you found some fights. I couldn't find any fights since 2019 where this guy, other than the one where he got the heel hook. And in his fights before that, I mean, this dude's like, he doesn't even know what weight class he's in. He's fighting at 165 pounds, which is fucking insane considering this is at bantamweight. He's like hopping up and down weight classes. And while I respect that, Hugo seems like someone that's just down the fight anytime, anywhere. And I just don't really know how to rate him because it's like he goes for takedowns, but I don't think his wrestling's that good. I don't think he really sets up his shots well. It's really just him just throwing overhands and mixing in double leg takedowns. And while the Torres tape is not good either, man. The guy's susceptible to getting put on his back foot. He gets stuck in the clinch a lot, and I don't know. I just got a weird feeling that Torres is the side. I don't know exactly why. I'm getting like Ignacio Bahamundes vibes from him. Same country. They're both from Chile. They both like to kick a shit ton. And that's probably the thing that sticks away from his game the most is Torres. He has fast kicks. He likes to poke at the body. We've seen him actually get a couple finishes with like knees to the body or like a step in knee. So he's dynamic, man. Maybe he can time something up the middle on a level change, but my thought process was if the Torres line gets to like maybe like plus 115, plus 120, I'm probably going to play it. Doesn't look like we're going to see that number. It's about plus 105, plus 100 right now. In my notes before the odds came out, I said this is a pick'em's fight. Stay the fuck away. And I can't help but think that, man, you got someone that's going to look to take it down. I don't think he has good wrestling. Then you got someone that's going to look to strike. But I think he has issues getting out of the clinch. So it's going to probably be maybe the overs, honestly. It's plus money for the over 2.5. It's actually pretty decent plus money. And this is 135. I don't really rate Torres' finishing ability too much on the feet. I know he's got like body KOs, but he's gone 5 rounds. It took him 5 rounds to get a finish on one of these guys, and we see him go to a lot of decisions. Although I did play Hugo Silva by sub just based on the path that he presents to win the fight. I do like the overs, and I'm probably going to play Torres if we get plus 115, plus 120, because I see this as a 50-50 fight.
You know, it's so funny because I basically like silo myself off from Contender Series, like opinion and everything. I really try not to get anybody else's opinions before this. And I think that Silva's going to win this fight by knockout. Like, I think he's got huge power on the feet. I think he's a really dangerous guy. And I think that Nolan Hernandez fight, like he wasn't getting out-wrestled, out-grappled. He just got outstruck pretty cleanly by a guy who's not that good. That was my recollection of the fight. So I just think about that, and I'm like, Nolan Hernandez doesn't really have the power to put you away. But I didn't like some of his reactions to punches there too. He was getting hit and then like backing up with both eyes open and like reaching for the subsequent punches. You do that against Victor, he might just knock you the hell out. So yeah, for me, I just feel like Victor, a guy who's coming in with 27 fights, is he going to be spooked by the moment of Contender Series? I don't see that. You know, this other guy, I don't think he's fought anybody real. You know, even Nolan Hernandez is like sub UFC level. That was proven by his UFC run. So it's like, I don't know. Don't like this fight for Torres personally. Opened up -175. That's kind of closer to where I would put it. So me and the odds maker saw this one.
We haven't mentioned, I don't think anybody mentioned one thing I didn't like about Silva. Dude, he is so fucking hittable on the feet. The dude just throws from the hips, man. And while I did say I like the overs, that's just something where it's like I don't really trust the guy that's throwing overhand bombs. But like it could land. He does hit like a truck. I'll give you that. It's just it seems like a tough fight to get a read on, in my opinion.
Well, dude, that fight that I was discussing with the overhand, when you said it was at 170, it makes more sense now because, dude, the guy looks like he's 3 weight classes bigger than him, and he knocks him the hell out with an overhand right. This guy will diddy bop with anybody. And by the way, hasn't lost since a rib injury in 2014, I think. So, like, that's as close to an undefeated fighter as you can get, you know, in a lot of ways. Like, what else is he supposed to do? He's out there taking a bunch of fights. He's won most of them. I don't know. Seems like a pretty tough guy to me. So I understand why he's favored here.
What's the success rates on guys named Silva this season?
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you, I always remind people this one quote because one of my favorites, Dana White is looking for a new big star from Brazil. That's what he always says. He's looking for new big stars from Brazil. So let's see if we can get one.